Hello everyone and welcome back to Cooking with Suzanne. Today we're going to prepare one of my favorite holiday treats, little chocolate nut cakes. I just want to go over all the ingredients with you before we begin. You will need 4 large egg yolks, room temperature, 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, 6 ounces of butter, unsalted, 6 ounces of bittersweet chocolate, 1/4 of a cup of finely ground almonds, or you could also use pecans, 7 tablespoons of unbleached all-purpose flour, 4 large egg whites, room temperature, along with 1/4 of a teaspoon of fine sea salt. You will also need 2 tablespoons of cognac if you're going to use the almonds. If you choose to use the pecans, I would suggest that you use 2 tablespoons of dark rum instead. And then for garnish, I have some toasted sliced almonds. Okay, that's it. So let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome back. So you know all the ingredients and you know what we're making, little chocolate nut cakes. I have been making these over the holidays for many years and they are quite delicious, and also what's really nice about these is that you can make them ahead of time, pop them in your freezer, and when you're ready to have them, just take them out, let them defrost, and you're good to go. They're really good. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is melt our chocolate along with our butter. So I have a little pot on the stove with a bowl, and I'm just on low. And what's really important, I'm sure you've heard this many times, make sure your bowl is not touching the water. So this bowl is just over the top and there's about 1 inch of water in the pot, so it's perfect. Now you just want to let it on low, just let it melt slowly, and when it's completely melted and dissolved, you want to let that cool a little bit. You don't want to go ahead, you need to wait and let that cool a little bit. Okay, so while that's happening, the other thing that we need to do is mix our egg yolks along with our sugar. So I have a bowl here, and I'm just going to mix this with just a hand mixer. You can certainly use your KitchenAid if you prefer. So put your 4 egg yolks, and of course you know it's really nice to make sure that your eggs are room temperature. You want to mix the sugar and your egg yolks until they're really nice and light and fluffy. It'll take about 3 minutes in a KitchenAid. It might take a little bit longer here by hand. So let's get started. I can trim this up a little bit. I'm just going to shut this off for a minute so I can take a look at my butter and chocolate and see how it's doing. It's almost there. I think our chocolate is nicely melted and our butter is melted. Looks great. And it smells even better than it looks. I'll come around so hopefully you can see how the chocolate is perfectly melted. There you go. Okay, then we are going to slowly add this to our cooled down chocolate and butter. Okay, we have our melted chocolate. We have our whipped egg yolks and sugar, and now we're going to slowly add this into our chocolate, and I'm just going to use my rubber spatula to fold it in. So maybe do it in thirds. that's nicely mixed, so we'll put in a little bit more. Now it's starting to thicken up a little bit. And now let's get the remainder in here. I think we got just about all we can get out of this bowl. And I usually start right in the center. And now what you want to do is just take a strainer and put it over your bowl and pour your 7 tablespoons of flour into the chocolate so that it's nice and fine and there are no lumps. Perfect. Okay. And one thing before I go any further, I do really want to share this with you because I'm sure we're all going to be doing a lot of baking now. When it comes time to measuring your flour or your sugar, the dip and sweep method is really ideal, or spoon it in and sweep it off. And what I mean by that is just to be able to go in and just sweep it off. And you would do the same with flour, or you could actually spoon it in if you wanted to. You could do it this way as well, and this is sugar here, but even sugar or flour is the same, and sweep it off. So this way here, you don't have too much sugar or too much flour in your recipe. Okay, so now we just want to go around, and I'm folding the flour into, as you can see, there's not a lot of flour in this mixture, so it's the dessert. These little chocolate nut cakes are very light and have a lot, almost mousse-like in the center, especially if you don't overbake them. It's really important not to overbake them. The next thing you want to do is add your almonds and your 2 tablespoons of cognac or dark rum, if you'd like. So here we go. 2 tablespoons. Fold that in. Oh, you know, the cognac really draws out the chocolate flavor, really intensifies it. Okay, this is very nice. Okay, so one final step to making these beautiful little chocolate cakes. We need to whip our egg whites and fold the egg whites in. So you can either use your stand mixer, or we can go ahead and use our just little hand mixer, or you can even whip it just by hand. And you do want to whip these to a soft peak stage. You don't want to whip it to the point that they're very stiff. Okay, so I'll start mine by hand, and if my arm gets too tired, I'll go ahead and grab my hand mixer. But this shouldn't take very long. So soft peak means you want a little bit of a peak, but you don't want it standing up to the point that it's super stiff. I think we are there. So when you lift your whisk and the egg white falls over into your bowl, it stands up, but then it falls over. That's soft peak stage. Okay. So let's pour in our whites. Now let's just fold Start in the center and just fold. And you do want your oven at 350 degrees. Looks great. Okay, I will come around and show you the batter. You can see it. It's quite rich and thick and ready to go. So we have all of our liners filled. Now, I like to take some toasted almonds, a couple in the center. You can lie it right in the center, even just one is very nice. So I have my oven at 350 degrees, and these can bake anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And you're really looking for them to just be set. You don't want to overbake them. So we will definitely check these in 5, and it should look like it's nicely cooked around the edges, but the center might look just slightly underdone. Okay, let me come around so you can see them before they go in the oven. Here you go. So let's get these in the oven, 350 degrees. Okay, I think these are perfectly done. You want to cook them where they're just nicely set, but they still look moist. If you go too far, then they become quite dry, and you want these to be nice and moist. So let me come around and show you. In my oven, it took 8 minutes, but everyone's oven is different. So don't go by that. So you see, it's definitely set up. I'm barely just touching it, but it's nicely set, but it still looks like it has some nice moisture there. So I think these are perfect. And once these have cooled enough to be able to take out, then I'll go ahead and do the rest. And I just want to show you that what I did, and you can do this too, just to save a little bit of time, is to get them on a tray. Unless you have 2 mini muffin tins, then go ahead and get them all done at the same time. If not, you can actually just put your paper liners, get them all filled up like I did here, and then these you can just pick up and slide into each mold and then get them in your oven. You want to wait till these kind of set. To do this while it's warm. I haven't tasted these in a long time. They look really, really good. Of course, you do want to wait for them to cool off completely, but let me come around so you can see it. Okay. Here are these beautiful little chocolate nut cakes, and see if I can break it open for you. So that you can see how perfectly cooked they are inside. So these for me took 8 minutes, but be sure not to go too far. So it depends on your oven, whether you have gas or electric. You can dust the top with a little bit of confectioner's sugar if you'd like. If you haven't subscribed to our cooking channel, please do. Cooking with Suzanne Fine Regional Cuisine. Look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye now.